Nope.
Cool. All right. Well, then before I let you announce the co-main and the main event, let's kind of get into DraftKings, man. I made my lineup. This was a hard lineup to make, man. This really was, because even
a lot of bangers on this one.
No, and even the favorites on here, they're hard to pick. You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking, Robert Whitaker is actually the underdog in that fight with Jared Cannonier. Very surprising. But I still see that one being pretty close. I think he should be the favorite, but the odds should still be close in that one. I'm trying to look through here. Yeah, like I had to go Da Un Jung versus Sam Alvey. I had to go into the depths and pick that one and really watch. Dan Un Jung's only fought in the UFC maybe once or twice, I think. So I really had to go back and look at his stuff as well. And then, like I said, we were just talking about the Harris and Volkov fight. Like any of these could go either way. It was a tough one. I literally probably spent the better part of 2 hours watching these guys and looking over their points. So I'll get into it real quick. So my first one, as I alluded to, my first pick so real quick, rewind. When I do DraftKings, it's 6 fighters per your lineup. All right. Usually I play the 50-50s and the double ups because usually, the top half wins. So, I kind of like to pick my money a little bit. And then I just do like one crazy card. I'll just throw my lineup in, one of those like 5-10K to the first winner or whatever, first place winner. But I usually like to do the 50-50s and double ups just because you can almost guarantee, if you're not stupid, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get some of your money back for the most part, save like some crazy upsets. But anyway, so given that information and the information that you should wait to put your card through until after weigh-ins, okay, I like to say that too, because you want to make sure that everybody makes weight. You want to make sure everybody's healthy. Everybody makes it to the stage. Wait until after weigh-ins to do it. Here's my picks. So I got Dan Un Jung. He's a big favorite against Sam Alvey. He has every reason to be. He's much bigger, more athletic. He's younger. He can take shots. I think that Sam Alvey's going to get steamrolled in this fight. And Jung's also got high average fantasy points at 94 points, I think, in his 2 UFC fights. So that's pretty damn high. There's only one guy in the card that's higher, and we'll get to that here shortly. And then I actually picked Anklov versus, he's my other favorite, against Kutalaba. I think just after what he showed last time, both these guys have like a heated this has become like a heated rivalry now between these guys after the way that first one turned out. So I have Anklov, who's averaging 79.9 points for fantasy. That's pretty good. He's had like 6 or 7 fights in the UFC, so that's pretty good, pretty high numbers. And then I have Whitaker as my underdog. Cannonier, surprisingly, was the favorite. He's only on a 3-fight win streak, I think. And he's, I think that's within the last like 4 years or 3 or 4 years or something. He hasn't fought very consistently. But either way, I picked Whitaker as my underdog. His average points, which I was very surprised about, considering that he's had some 5-round wars. His average points is 77.7. That's shocking. Mm-hmm. And then my underdog, I picked for another underdog, I picked Walt Harris against Volkov. I see the knockout coming there. That's big points right there. Harris has got low average points at 55.8, but if he gets you that knockout in the second round, that's going to be some major points for your fantasy team. And then I actually have, I'm looking for where it is on here real quick. So I got Casey Kenny, who's fighting Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood was supposed to be the hot newcomer in here, but I think Kenny's on a hotter streak. He's going to come in as a bigger guy. They're both very well-rounded, but I think Kenny's going to have the size advantage and the advantage of his last few wins coming into this one. So, and he's the favorite. So good pick there. And then I'm picking Khabib for my last favorite pick there. The reason why I picked him is because you just can't ignore his fantasy points. He averages 111 fantasy points per fight. You cannot ignore that. Even if you think Gaethje's going to win, you just have to pick Khabib just because of those, purely out of the output of what you're going to get for that. I mean, unless you feel super strongly that Gaethje's going to win, then you're going to have a few extra bucks if you wanted to flip one of those underdogs to another favor. But again, everybody else is so close, it's going to be hard. So that's my fantasy picks for this weekend. Again, wait until after the weigh-ins. Make sure everybody makes weigh-ins. Make sure everybody makes it healthy. Make sure they don't have to cut extra weight late, because usually that's not a good sign for the next night. But that's it. I'll stop talking. Sean, your thoughts on that? Anything?
Oh, sounds like a good DraftKings card. You got your sleepers in there who really aren't, or I shouldn't say sleepers, your underdogs though, who are very much live dogs.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is you always got to pick someone. You have to have a legit reason. I had to go back and I had to watch Walt Harris's last like 2 or 3 fights just to really feel like if I wanted to pick him. You just had to feel confident with some of those. So that's my thoughts. Anyways, all right, let's get back to the fun stuff. Let's get back to the card. Sean, you want to bring us into this cool
Yeah, so I feel like the real excitement really starts on this card because you got Jared Cannonier, who's fought all the way from heavyweight, is now down to middleweight. Really found a home there. He's at his ideal body weight for fighting and competing. He's on a tear. He's been knocking dudes dead. Taking on the former middleweight champ, Robert Whitaker, who I think against his fight in Adesanya, he looked a bit rusty. He just looked a step slower, which Adesanya does that to anybody as it is. But even coming off a long layoff, especially coming off of knee surgeries too, and even in the Till fight, the first round, he still looked a little bit slow. Got knocked around a little bit, but I thought we saw the real Robert Whitaker by the end of that Till fight, and I think we're going to see the champ back in this fight. I think we're going to see the Robert Whitaker that we know and love.
Yeah, I think it's so weird that they made him the underdog. I mean, because even if you go back and you look at Jared Cannonier's last few fights, he's 13-4, which is a good record. But to your point, like he's dropped a ton. Like he went from the heavyweight division. He actually fought Ion Cutelaba, funny enough. I think back in light heavyweight, all the way back in 2016, but either talking about guys that are moving weight classes. But I mean, he lost to guys like Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes, which are two guys that just fought for the light heavyweight title. And then he dropped down to 185 where he found success. He beat David Branch pretty convincingly. But then this is where it gets a little weird. He had Anderson Silva who blew out his knee or something like that. It was really weird. Like, I don't even know if they ever confirmed that he had like a serious injury after that fight, but like he was grabbing his knee after he kicked Cannonier. So that was just really weird. But then he also beat Jack Hermanson pretty handily as well. So he's really only had like 2 middleweight fights, Yeah,
but Hermanson's a really good win.
Yeah, no, that is. And I think the other thing that's nice for Whitaker is it's not like he's going to be outsized here. It's not like he hasn't experienced this. Cannonier's listed at 6 foot. Whitaker's listed at 5'11". I don't know what their reach is. Let me see if I can see that real quick. Okay, so Jared Cannonier, which if you look at him, it makes sense. He has a freakish long reach. He actually has a 4-inch reach advantage, but it's not anything that Whitaker hasn't seen. Darren Till is a monster for middleweight division. He handled him pretty well. Yoel Romero could easily fight at heavyweight if he wanted to, even though he's a little short for heavyweight, if you want to call it that. Like it's 6'1". Yeah, I mean he's so freaking strong.
I think the thing that Vegas might be looking at for Cannonier is that he's got a lot of power, and Whitaker's gotten hurt in every fight since the first time he fought Romero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just because I mean those 2 fights with Romero were brutalizing to his long-term health. Then the Adesanya fight, he was just kind of jumping into punches and got caught. And Darren Till, his left hand's a freaking piston, and it landed once, and it knocked him down. It didn't daze him, but it knocked him down.
Yeah, but I feel like Whitaker's one of those guys where he gets better as he gets hurt.
The dog comes out a little bit in him.
Yep, the dog comes out. Bobby Knuckles comes out every time he gets hit. He goes up another level of Super Saiyan.
That's my favorite nickname, by the way, in the UFC is Bobby Knuckles.
I mean, I was always keen to the American Psycho and Axe Murderer.
It's my favorite nickname that isn't his nickname.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean that is pretty dope. Bobby Knuckle, I like it, but